Los Angeles, California. Home to 10 million people and one of the busiest cities in the United States of America. Known for its professional sports teams, life-changing opportunities, and a citywide cultural diversity. It's often regarded as the most popular city in America, with nationwide attractions such as Universal Studios, Disneyland, the Santa Monica Pier, and Hollywood in the surrounding areas. The city has become a cultural epicenter for social interactions and ethnic variety. The City of Angels has been plagued by fog, haze, and smoke, all combining with atmospheric pollutants to form what has now become known as smog. California's topography and its warm, sunny climate are perfect for trapping and forming air pollutants. Most California cities are built on plains or in valleys surrounded by mountains. The mountains form a basin around the city, and this is the main contributor to why the city experiences its present conditions. In Los Angeles, the first instance of smog occurred in July 1946. Smog descended over the city and blanketed the downtown area, causing residents to suffer from stinging eyes and sore throats.
When did you come to Los Angeles?
I moved here in 1982,
And,
August of 1982.
And what did you first see?
It's not so much what I first saw, it was more of the feeling that I felt when I moved here from Illinois. It was a feeling of shortness of breath. Like I almost felt like we were all going to have a heart attack.
How long did this go on for?
It would depend on the weather. There was days in which you would go outside, and if any form of exercise, you couldn't really go full out on exercise because it was really bothersome for breathing. And so it would just really depend on the weather. If it was a very hot day, it would be more impacted. If it wasn't so hot, then you wouldn't feel it so much. But as to your question back, what did it look like? It was always just a constant, like you could never see the mountains, you couldn't see Palos Verdes, you couldn't see anything. There was just a cloud or a thin layer that would always be present.
And what did you experience during your time here?
Meaning like how I felt like physically.
Yeah.
Most of the time I felt okay. It was times where just even moving a box, we were just moving here, just moving the box from the car to the house, you would be shortness of breath. Is what I remember the most, is shortness of breath.
Thank you.
With the sunshine of Los Angeles making its atmosphere the most ozone-laden in the world, one solution offered by the scientists was to find out which materials reacted with the sun to form ozone and to filter them out before they reached the open air. Motorcycle police tried masks, while the city launched its biggest, most desperate smog investigation.
Nowadays, smog comes in a new form: motor vehicles. In Los Angeles, of its 10 million residents, half own cars for daily transportation and personal use. In total, around 6.4 million vehicles are present in the Los Angeles area. With this massive presence of vehicles, it is no wonder why this large population suffers from and is affected by exhaust fumes, resulting in harmful living conditions and even death.
Well, a new report out now says the deadly Los Angeles air pollution is killing 1,300 people per year. Yes, you can see that is the city of Los Angeles through the smog. You could barely make out the skyline. This story comes to us courtesy of CBS News, who reports in the West, extreme heat combined with thick smoke from wildfires and air pollution from millions of cars is making the air in some places dangerous to breathe.
Deaths in the city are caused by the gases that are emitted from motor vehicles. These gases vary from hydrocarbons, nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxides, and sulfur dioxides. Hydrocarbons react with the nitrogen oxides in the presence of sunlight to form ground-level ozone, a primary ingredient in smog. Though beneficial in the upper atmosphere, at ground level, this gas irritates the respiratory system, causing coughing, choking, and reduced lung capacity. Nitrogen oxides cause lung irritation and weakens the body's respiratory system against infections such as pneumonia and influenza. In addition, they assist in the formation of ground-level ozone. The odorless, colorless, and poisonous carbon monoxide is formed by combustion of fossil fuels such as gasoline. It is emitted primarily by cars and trucks. When inhaled, carbon monoxide blocks oxygen from the brain, heart, and other vital organs. Fetuses, newborn children, and people with chronic illnesses are especially vulnerable to the effects of carbon monoxide. Motor vehicles also create sulfur dioxide by burning sulfur-containing fuels, especially diesel. Sulfur dioxide can react in the atmosphere to form fine particles and poses the largest health risk to young children and people who suffer from asthma.
Car pollutants also have drastic effects on the environment. Car exhausts emit a wide range of gases and solid matter, contributing to global warming, acid rain, and smog. Cars and trucks emit carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases, which contributes to 1/5 of the United States' total global warming pollution. Burning excessive amounts of fossil fuels, such as gasoline and diesel, have caused an increase of 0.6 degrees Celsius in global temperatures since pre-industrial times, and will continue to rise drastically in the future as more and more vehicles are being produced. The effects of air pollution are widespread, affecting air, soil, and water quality. Nitrous oxides, originating primarily from cars and trucks, contribute to the depletion of the ozone layer, while sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxides mix with rainwater to create acid rain, harming crops, forests, and vegetation. Oftentimes, discarded oil from cars and trucks seep into the soil near highways and can often contaminate lakes, rivers, and wetlands. Collectively, cars and trucks account for 1/5 of all emissions in the U.S. However, more and more fuel-efficient vehicles are being produced as they use less gas to travel and are often cheaper than their less efficient counterparts. Electric cars and trucks don't even use fossil fuels for power, causing almost no emissions as well as being a renewable resource.
What is that, a matchbox car? Yeah, it'll match your ass, that's what it'll do. I don't think you know what you're picking on here.
But as I was about to find out,
You challenging me? I sure am.
if you want to get more speed and power out of a car,
To the track? See you there. All right.
you have to unplug your old ideas about what makes cars fast.
Whoa! What's going on here? 11.8 seconds? You blew my doors off.
When did you come to California?
So I moved from New Jersey to California in 1979. My dad worked for Texaco and was transferred to a refinery on the West Coast.
And what did you see when you came here?
It was a bit unusual. When I first moved to California, I noticed that because of the location in Los Angeles in the mountains, there was a lot of inland smog that would not kind of go away, and so because of that we were breathing pretty hazardous air, and in fact they would have smog alerts on very hot and smoggy days.
And so what did you experience with this smog?
Some of the things that I experienced, I remember when I was running track in high school, really tightness of chest, and you would feel very difficult it would be very difficult to breathe after a very smoggy day.
Thank you very much. In efforts to solve the problem of vehicle emissions and depletion of the ozone, we have proposed 4 simple solutions to fix this growing epidemic. First, encouraging fuel-efficient vehicles. These cars use less gas to travel the same distance as their less efficient counterparts. When we burn less fuel, we generate fewer emissions, and when emissions go down, the pace of global warming slows. Secondly, using cleaner fuels can produce fewer emissions when they're burned. Some fuels, such as those made from cellulosic biofuels, can reduce emissions by 80% compared to gasoline. Thirdly, better regulations would help prevent the gasoline we do use from getting any dirtier and further affecting our environment. Regulations can vary from higher taxes on certain gasolines that we purchase to laws restricting what fuels we can use and burn. An example of regulation includes the efforts that have already been made to implement catalytic converters into every motor vehicle and the ultimate improvement of air quality. Finally, electric cars and trucks use electricity for fuel, producing fewer emissions than traditional vehicles. When the electricity comes from a renewable source, all electric vehicles would produce zero emissions while driving.
In short, LA's small problem is influenced heavily by the massive presence of vehicles, and since the number of cars will not be decreased anytime soon, it is persistently encouraged to switch to electric vehicles and ones that are economically and environmentally friendly.
Nowadays, smog comes in a new form.
These nuts.
Fuck.